Our first speaker is Roberto Bonelli. Roberto is the founder of the Animals Battalion, which is an organization that advocates for the rights, interests, and well-being of all animals. Roberto is currently involved in issues of the fur trade, dog and cat meat trade, and declawing. Roberto has been vegan for 8 years.
Thank you very much. All right, folks. First of all, I want to thank you all for your interest in animals. God bless you for that. So, what is declawing? Well, declawing is marketed as a painless procedure that's done to cats. It's marketed as a simple solution to save your furniture. It thrives on the fact that the public is not informed of what it really is. And in reality, declawing is a procedure that's done just to make vets money. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. All right. Okay. As long as I can see it from you. No, that's okay. Okay. So, what is declawing? So, according to the vets, it's this painless procedure. It's done to save the cat's furniture. It's really done to make vets money. What declawing really is it's a procedure called Anti-declawing. It's medically unnecessary amputation. Now, claws grow from the bone. I want you to remember that. That's going to come up again in this presentation. In order, see, unlike human nails, our nails grow from the flesh. A cat's claw grows from the bone. Remember what I'm telling you here. Remember that it grows from the bone. It's going to come up later on. In order to remove the claw, the entire tip of the cat's finger, so to say, has to be removed. It is the equivalent of cutting the tip of a human's finger. That's exactly what declawing is. So, declawing is performed by making a 360-degree cut around the cat's paw. Ligaments are cut, tendons are cut, the foot padding is cut. And I want you to pay attention to line number, see that section? Number one, sorry about that. See that section number one over there? Take a good look. You see that segmented line? You see that yellow part next to the pink? That's the piece of bone that's attached to the tendon. Remember what I told you, that the claw comes from the bone. Okay. So, declawing leads to a lifetime of pain. Cats are digitigrade. What is digitigrade? It means they walk on their paws. I don't know if any of you do boxing, if you do fencing, any type of sport where you're on the balls of the foot, you can move quickly like that. That's the world that cats live in. That's how they move. Next slide. Remember what I told you? I said that as long as there's a bone in there, that the claw can regenerate. Okay, one of the problems that happens with declawing is that they cut the first everything from the first knuckle back. As you saw earlier, there was a little piece of bone that was behind the incision line. That can stay stuck in there. So what happens is you have an amputated limb that now they're being forced to walk on, and they have the equivalent of a pebble in the stone. That's one scenario. The other scenario is that the claw starts to grow back. Now, two things can happen. It could burst through the sealed flesh, or it could curl itself around. Look at the size of that. That's an ingrown claw. Next slide, please. One of the things that happens with declawing as well, sorry about that, guys. One of the things that happens with declawing is when the cut is made, they use surgical glue to seal the wound. Now the cat is taken out of the emergency room. He's left in the cage. He or she is left in the cage. Sometimes the wound will reopen. So think about that. Imagine coming out of a surgery and your wound reopens. There's no anesthesia. Now, that is also an environment that's ripe for infection. Aside from the infection, there's the complication that when ligaments and tendons were cut that could be used. These are all, well, these three right here, you have the name, the date. These are all cases where the cats wound up losing most of the paw, and in some cases, the entire arm. The next slide, please. So we saw some of the medical problems right there. Okay, that's going into a little bit of detail. And by the way, I could be here for hours going about all the rare medical cases. Let's stick to the more well-known stuff. Behavioral issues. Claws are a cat's first initial line of defense. When a cat interacts with a human or with any other animal, when they're playful, they pat. They pat you. The claws are retracted inside. It's just a mindless little slap. When the cat feels threatened, it unsheaths the claws, and they come out. When the cat is in a serious fight, when the cat is hunting, when the cat is attacking the prey, you ever see two cats lock up? They circle each other with their arms, the foot comes up like a bunny kick, and they slash down, and then the teeth is engaged. These cats, there is no warning shot with them. They're in consistent pain, they have no way to tell you to back off, they move in with the deadly strike. And the problem too is, there's more of a chance of infection from a bite wound because the saliva enters your skin. There's more of a chance. I grew up getting scratched when I was a little kid playing with my cat and never had a problem. But saliva is a different story. When it goes into the bloodstream, in case any of you share ice cream with your cats like I do, don't judge. Litter box issues. Of course, this is one of the most common, elimination outside of the litter box. Now, here's where it gets complicated. If you have a heart of gold and you messed up and you didn't know, you made a mistake, you're going to deal with it. You're going to live with this. But most people are not that patient. And if it's someone who really cared about their furniture more than the cat, what do you think is going to happen? Next slide, please. Abandonment. Now, there are many uninformed people that have a habit of saying, well, what are you going to do? The cat's either going to be on the street or it's got to... No. That's not the choice. The choice that you're making is this animal going to live a lifetime of pain? Is it going to lose an entire limb? Is it going to die from an infection? That's the real choice. The choice isn't whether the cat's going to be disaccommodated or something, or it's going to be on the street. Would you chop off a person's leg off the street just to give them a better life? I don't think a lot of people are going to take that, especially when it's a lifetime of pain. So, as we said, the cats get dumped. They get dumped into a shelter. Now you have an animal that is a special needs animal. And you know that whoever adopts them has got to have a heart of gold. But there are people that do want to adopt declawed cats, and that's fantastic. We need more people like that. But this is a person that's going to have an animal that's going to face challenges. So you made it tougher to adopt a cat. What happens if they get dumped on the street? Well, now you have a defenseless animal that's crippled, that's in pain on the streets, all because of this procedure. And let's talk about the fact that some of these animals that get dumped on the street, what if it was a cat that lived in a house for 10 to 12 years? So, as shocking as it is for the cat to have to be re-fertilized or fertilized, now on top of that, they're scared, they're in pain, and they're defenseless. That's horrible. Nobody deserves that. And of course, the number of homeless animals goes up. And if anybody, I don't know if anybody here does rescue, if anybody does TNR, we have too many unwanted animals out there already. We don't need to be increasing that number, especially when it's just for profit. Next slide, please. The medical reality of declawing. I read a really good book called Thinking of Declawing, and I recommend it to you. Guys, please read. This is a movement of thinkers. It's always good to get more information. There's a documentary called The Paw Project. I'll touch on that later. That's the premier source for information on declawing. This was a great complement to the book. And it's the same material, but it started looking at things from the human injury angle. And what they did is they started looking at amputee information, and they started matching it up with the behavior of declawed cats. And that's where that book really shines. So as it says there, pain robs a person a chance to enjoy being alive. Absolutely, I think we can all agree with that. Declawing changes the nature of cats. I like this next section right here. Cats are tiny lions. Now, Jackson Galaxy is mentioned up there. I met him, he's a great guy. Jackson Galaxy has what is called the raw cat theory. Other behaviorists, feline behaviorists, other anthrozoologists have different names for it. But basically the idea is this. With this species, with the feline species, there is more in common. Think of the wheel. You can't reinvent the wheel. You can make it sleeker, you can make it different colors, you can make the hubcap spin, but you can't change the idea of a circle that spins. Same thing with the cats. Most cats, they're bigger, they might have longer fangs or claws, different colored tails, but they're basically the same creature. It's not like with the canine species where you could have a huge difference between a chihuahua and a wolf. The cat is virtually identical. That's very important because there's been a lot of strides made in feline behavior from understanding that, but there's also a connection from the medical point. If you watch the film, The Paw Project, Dr. Jennifer Conrad started the Paw Project, started this crusade to ban declawing because she was working with wild cats that were used in the entertainment industry. And of course, obviously, they're declawed. So she started seeing that all these tigers and lions had the same lame affliction, and she started thinking, wow, if they're declawing tigers, imagine how many of the domestic cats they're declawing. It's an unbelievable number. So whether you want to subscribe to Jackson Galaxy's raw cat theory or you want to give it another name, there is a reality that what you have at your house is a tiny little tiger. As much as he's lovable, as much as he or she is friendly, you have to understand the natural world. You have to understand what a feline is. Now, claws are used, keeping that in mind, they're used for a lot of things. And this shows you how people don't think when they declaw, and vets don't think about it. Claws are used for climbing. They're used for grabbing. A claw is not just a weapon. It's a hook-like thing. This morning I had a cup of coffee and a bunch of Red Bulls to wake me up. As I was waiting for the caffeine to kick in, my little cat, Luna, jumps on top of the mini fridge and grabs my arm, and she does, as she does every morning, she shows affection by grooming me, by licking me. I do not have a scratch. I can roll up my sleeves later, you can see I don't have a scratch on me. This is a daily routine with us. It's not just a weapon. It's also, it's their fingers, and they can control the amount of pressure that they do. You're removing their fingers. They're used for self-defense, they're used for fighting, depending on the scenario, whether it's a street cat or a house cat, it's used for hunting or playing. Again, remember the litter box? They're also used for digging and covering. Cats are very clean animals. When you usually find a lot of sanitary issues, you gotta understand it's because humankind messes up the natural world. Of course, if they're hoarded, if they're locked into a room, if you've got an unusual number in a small space, you're gonna have sanitary issues. But the cat itself is a clean animal. Of course, they're also used for detangling fur. They're used for moving away debris. These are things that have to be understood. The last line right here, front claws are necessary for stretching and strengthening the entire body, from kid to adult. I'm sure you're all familiar with the yoga pose, and I don't do yoga, so maybe I'm wrong. But the cat pose in yoga, same idea. This is something that people don't think about. It's not just an inconvenience to your couch. That claw, they sometimes hook into a rug, and they use it to anchor themselves as they stretch. Think about your hand. Obviously, if you get amputated, you can't grab things, but there's so many things that you do with your limbs that you're not even aware of. Like when you do a chest stretch, sorry about that, at the gym, you put your hand against your arm against the wall. That's an example of stretching. There's so many things that we can do with the body. There's even more when it comes to animals. So to simply remove it as an inconvenience is so foolish. Next slide, please. This is a great quote here. I don't know if I could read it. Cat Hospital of Chicago also adds that studies with hidden cameras have shown some cats to behave pain-free around humans, but alone exhibit pain behaviors such as licking or a hunched posture. The masking of pain behavior is believed to be a survival instinct from domestic cats' ancestors in the wild. We go back to the raw cat theory. We go back to the idea that this is a tiny little lion, a tiny little tiger that's in your house. What would you do if you were a lion in the jungle? Would you show weakness? Absolutely not. That's why they're very stoic creatures. A lot of people don't understand cats' natures because you don't understand the natural world. Let me go on a tangent right now. If your cat ever comes up to you and lies with its back and it shows its belly, that is the highest compliment you can get. Because these are tiny little lions. No predator, no lion will ever show its vulnerability to another living being unless it loved and cared and felt safe around that living being. That's the highest compliment you can get from nature. Next slide, please. Declawing is done mainly to avoid furniture damage. And it's done without considering humane, ethical alternatives. I just had a couple of good conversations out in the hall about alternatives. Okay, number one, trimming claws. You can trim your cat's claws. They have these clippers that are guillotine style. You got the traditional scissors. You could use your nail clippers. You don't have to trim them all at the same time. You know what I do it? When they're on my lap and I need to get them out of the way, or they're bugging me with the computer, if I click one of their claws, they don't like it, they go away. But I got 1 out of the 10 done. So, also, I don't even bother trimming my cat's claws. Like I said, I'll take off my shirt. I don't have a scratch or a scar on me. So again, it's also learning to live with the animal. Scratching post, that's personally my favorite. Get a good scratching post, there you go. That solves it most of the time. Corrective behavior. Again, I cannot say enough good things about feline behaviors. I'm friends with a few of them. A huge Jackson Galaxy fan. I'm one of those cat nerds that gets a chance to listen to them speak all the time. Soft paws. Now, somebody else I didn't know about this. Soft paws is like a rubber covering that goes over the claw. Now, when you have a cat, you'll find that it's like a husk, like the claw sheds. You'll find the little pieces in the carpet or on the floor. You put one of these soft paws on, it falls off. Put some more glue, put it on again. There you go. All it has is a little rubber, like a thimble, for when you sew. It's the cat equivalent to that. You do that, you don't have to. The animal doesn't have to live in pain.
Roberto,
yeah.
You have 1 minute. Could you tell us about any legislation that is on the horizon?
Yeah. Could you next slide, please? Okay, it's banned in over 40 countries. We won't list them. 8 cities in New York, in California. Denver, Colorado just banned it. Canadians, 2 provinces in Canada. Next slide, please. I'm getting to the. Okay, this is the opposition. These are the bad guys. The AVMA, the New York State Veterinary Medical Society. They make money off of this. Special attention. The New York State Veterinary Medical Society also endorses debarking and Guam. And of course, not all vets are on board. Next slide, please. Yes, there is legislation, and you can be a hero too. Next slide, please. There you go. There are 4 bills out there right now. One in New York, one in New Jersey, one in West Virginia, one in Rhode Island. There was one in California, got shot down, not a problem, it could get reintroduced. All you got to do is contact your assembly member. I would go into detail because you got people that are going to talk about lobbying and they're going to do a better job than me. You can talk to me in the hallway, I'll give you more information. New Yorkers with a little hometown pride, you could be the first state. If not, if the Jerseyans get it, I'm just as happy. Next slide, please. Okay, you've got all this information. I have to ask you a question. Where is the animal rights movement? Most of the people fighting declaw are cat advocates. They're a niche group. Declawing is the bastard child of vivisection. We should be far more involved in this. This is a winnable campaign, just like we were able to ban circuses here in New York City. This is totally winnable. Companion animals are often overlooked by the AR movement, and this is what drives me nuts. Sorry, I'm getting a little political. When you try to reach a troglodyte walking out of a McDonald's that has nothing there, but everyone got into animal rights with some kind of relationship with an animal, you have a foundation with cats and dogs or rabbits or any pet that you have, or any interaction if you're a sanctuary worker. You capitalize on that foundation. You take that relationship with the cat and the dog, and you explain that you cannot go into a circus because they whip their cat. You take their love for cat or a dog and you tell them that they can't wear Canada Goose because that's a dog on their shoulders. To not capitalize on that is just foolishness. Yeah, that's pretty good. One more thing that makes this all the more disgusting. Companion animals are family members. If we're living in a world where they're chopping up, what do you do when you take a family picture? You run, you go to get the cat and the dog. If you're devocalizing a dog, if you're chopping up a cat, how on earth do you expect to save the wild animals? How do you expect to save the farm animals when they're butchering the cat and the dog that's in the family picture? We cannot build a foundation. You cannot build a foundation for animal rights with such a weak premise at the beginning. And that's just my personal opinion on the bottom. Next slide, please. Okay, my last point. I want to read this. When a person makes the decision to adopt a cat, he assumes stewardship of this member of the feline species, and as such, the surrogate parent should never disregard the cat's health over inanimate objects in the home. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with one last comment. These are our children. They're my children. And they deserve better from the animal rights movement, and they deserve more participation.
Thank you.
Thank you.